And tonight we are taking a close look here at a couple cases that got a lot of attention. Northwestern, where there was a move here to give scholarship football players the right to form a union and be recognized as school employees. It's a decision as it works its way through the legal process that could change conceivably the face of college athletics. I'll give you an idea of, nationally at least, where the public stands on this. So there's a Washington Post ABC News poll, and it was taken back in March when this story was hottest. And it shows that most people in the general public are against paying athletes, which surprised me at least. 47% against the move, while a third supported here. And we have this idea, this concept we used to broadcast Army football games. And when you go through that facility, when you go through Michie Stadium, you look at back in the day what it was like. There are places and there are sports where the true concept of amateur athletics, you certainly find it at the Division III level. I know that personal experience. It's real. But
Ivy League. Without
putting schools' names to it, you guys have been around the block and seen all different programs here. Is that still really there when you're talking the biggest sports of football and basketball? I'm sure you can find it with, you know, the Crew or the gymnastic teams or the rest, but when you're talking football and basketball at Division I, is it Pollyannish to think that there's really such a thing as the student athlete is what we imagine it?
It's virtually impossible. 40 years ago when we played sports, I don't think that we were taken up with 60 hours a week involved in our sport. Today in football, it's not unusual, and they went through the whole thing at Northwestern. They actually laid it out there very clearly, how much time was being spent. 5:30 in the morning for mandatory weightlifting, and then meeting several times during the day to do watching the films and going over them over and over again, coming back again at night, practicing I don't know how many hours, and then coming back doing some more film after that, and then maybe some study hall. That's so alien to me. I played football. We played in a national championship football team. Nothing like that was the case.
There was a rule, and I say was, that's the operative term, where you were limited to 20 hours a week to practice and compete. And if you were going on the road to compete, you'd only be charged 3 hours. Well, that's bogus. That's not what exists. Because the reality is, and this is part of the point that is being made by Northwestern student athletes, is that the truth of the matter is they might be putting 50 hours a week in.
You're talking about the NCAA's purpose is to maintain a clear, to maintain athletes as an integral part of the student body and maintain a clear line of demarcation between professional and college sports. How can you become an integral part of the student body when you're isolated on the edge of campus all day long and you're not having a chance to go to the same courses that everyone else is?
You mentioned the NCAA. Are they part of the problem or the solution here?
That's
he almost went blue on me.
They should be part of the solution, but they are a significant part of the problem as well.
I said earlier that I supported unionization. And I support unionization because of what the NCAA has done. It has transformed athletes into employees. They did that. But in my all honesty, I don't support the unionization effort as the solution. I support that we should I think they're doing the right thing, but I would prefer that we pay the athletes back, not in terms of money, not in terms of collective bargaining, et cetera, but that we write some federal legislation that really insists that educational and medical kinds of compensation come back to the athletes as their compensation for what they're doing on the athletic field.
And here comes the rub, okay? Can you take the genie out of the bottle a little, Don? Can you do what the doctor's proposing? Because it makes sense to me, but can you do that without inadvertently bankrupting some, if not the majority, of even Division I programs, where now they say, wait a second, you're asking me to have Title IX said I got to have a certain amount of programs. I got to give equal, basically, playing fields for women and men. That means those sports that make no money, we got to still subsidize them all, and we got to carry as many female teams as we do men teams. And we've seen a lot of iconic sports teams that have gone the way. I remember one year Providence, their baseball team went to the Final Four, you know, and then the next year the program was defunct. You've done the math of this. You've been an AD, okay? Yeah. Can we do what he's saying and still have the sports landscape the way that we recognize it now?
Could I first clarify what I was
Yeah, I
saying?
knew you were going to do it. You're going to put a condition on it. I
No,
did
no,
a little.
I don't
all
want a
right.
condition. I just want to clarify so he answers the question that's really out there.
The way he wants me to.
What we're suggesting in my group that's writing legislation right now called the CAP Act is that we would like this newly structured NCAA to actually own its football championship. It would own its football championship just like it now owns the basketball championship. With the money and revenue that would come in from that new football championship, we would use that money to spread about and to pay for some of the things we're talking about. Spread it into Division I and II and III. Have athletes with medical rights and insurance plans and catastrophic injury insurance and so forth.
Okay,
that
but
would
I
go
think,
across the board.
I haven't done the math, and I
we
defer
could
to
pay
you.
for it.
But
Can
we
we
were
pay
talking
for it?
before. How many programs actually make money now?
Well, that was part of what we were talking about earlier. If there were 15, that's probably an exaggeration.
And he's talking about the whole landscape of college
Right, yeah,
athletics here. We're
yeah.
talking the big boy sports here, football.
Right.
That's what's making the money.
Right, exactly. But in principle, I always in principle agree with the things that Alan says. But when they get to
Here
the
comes the smack, yeah.
get to the practical side of some of these issues, and you brought it up about if the money is there, the revenue is generated through bowl games and whatever, to filter it down to give it to the teams and the programs that do not make any money. But in reality, when you get right back and go full circle, how much revenue is really there to distribute in the first place? And the thing that we need to be very careful about, it's not that we have to provide equal number of sports, men and women, but the commitment on the financial side of the ledger has to be very close to being equal. And I don't want to get into the technicalities of Title IX. Frankly, I'm not even qualified to speak to it. But the point being is that, for example, in financial aid, the financial aid that is offered an athlete versus what might be on the horizon for football and basketball and others that make money, is that that disproportion is going to create a Title IX violation. So we need to tiptoe through this before we get too giddy about what we're going to do with the money.
We could get into this. I do think people understand the status quo can't prevail. And I think we believe there's a place for college athletics. That it's not, but there's a place for it. I think it's great for the kids, it's great for the school. Hopefully they find a way around it, and I know we're going to be talking again. Alan, Don, thank you guys very much. I appreciate
Thank you. Thank you.
We enjoyed it.
Okay, everybody, they'll continue fighting in the green room. When we come back here, we will switch gears to a story that we've been talking about for quite a while in this program, the VA. And its chief, Eric Shinseki, he's facing the music and facing mounting pressure here to resign following new VA hospital mismanagement allegations. We'll bring a panel in on that. We'll weigh in after this.